All right, my name is Dr. Cheryl Meier, and I wanted to take some time out right now. I might make videos to encourage us, to give us more courage and have a deeper, more authentic life. But right now, someone was asking me about OCD. So I'm a psychologist in my day job for the past 20 plus years. So OCD is called Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. And even if you don't have it, it's kind of like we all can have narcissistic tendencies. We all can have obsessive compulsive traits, right? So this video will apply to everybody. But someone was specifically asking me this, and I gave him or her my card because we didn't get a chance. It was just a quick meeting, and I had to go, or that person had to go. And so I was like, this person has my card, so maybe they'll come to this, or maybe it's meant for everybody else, anybody else, right? So, I feel for you if you're dealing with this. I've had clients that have dealt with this, and I know what it's like personally. So let's just understand, obsessive compulsive disorder is just exactly what they called it this time. Sometimes the names don't match, sometimes they do. And so you're obsessed about a certain thing, and you do something compulsively to try to deal with that obsession. And it's a disorder because it's disordering your life. It's not bringing more order in your life. So just observe these things without judgment. If something is bringing you more disorder, then observe it without judgment and know that there is a solution, and you're worth a real solution, right? You're worth not just a temporary solution. Like people will go, hey, take this prescription, right? And it's like, and sometimes prescriptions are important for people, but sometimes people just depend on those instead of doing the inner work. So I'm encouraging you to do the inner work. And so what I was saying to this person that I'll expand upon a little bit more now for all of us is that notice, and if you need a psychologist, go and get professional help. I'm just working as like a life coach when I'm doing these things. I'm just conveying the knowledge that I have, but I'm not your psychologist. So I make that clear in my YouTube description. But and if you're here on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and share these and comment and stuff like that. It helps grow my channel, so I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your presence. I hope this serves you in your life. All right, so understand that, let's say someone's obsessed with washing their hands, right? Or obsessed with a person, right? I've never experienced that. Not since like third grade, when I would make mixtapes for a guy that I just met. I didn't make those until 6th grade, but it was probably, anyway, I don't need to go into all that. But I'm just saying, you can look at this like an obsession with a person, so we can all relate, right? Is that, imagine that someone, didn't have a close relationship with their father and really wanted one, or a close relationship with their mother and would have liked to have had that, right? And so instead of dealing with the pain of that, we create other things to focus on, and we're giving energy and assigning meaning to other things. Like if we keep finding numbers or seeing street signs that are like, see, I used to see 4Runner cars, and I'd be like, see, they're always because I was used to my own father. It's like they never know how to commit. They're always running. They're always rejecting. Blah blah blah. Men. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want to. Every time you see a 4Runner car, you're just reminding you of all the runners in this world that are avoidant. It's like the avoidant attachment style, right? But they go for whatever attachment style I have, right? And so understand that if you're assigning, it's really easy to see in other people. It's harder to see in ourselves, right? Until you go back and go, wait a second, what if I deal with the root problem always ask divine love, ask God to help you, right? Because what it is we're just afraid to go back to the root problem. Now, if we're little kids and they're like the big grown-ups and we're the little kids, and every time we try to face this as little kids, we just got squished or we got rejected or it never worked out anyway, then it's learned helplessness. We learned not to go back to solve the root problem. And so we think this is what like addictions are about, and eating disorders and all this stuff is we go to this other thing. We think, oh, if I starve myself, then I won't think about the way my parents are starving me emotionally, right? Then maybe I'll be thin enough. This is like anorexia, right? For people to love me and stop rejecting me, but it's never thin enough because egotism never has enough. So when you have this obsessive compulsive disorder, you keep chasing after this thing that's never going to fix the real problem, right? When I go back and I'm just honest with God and I'm like, hey, I started thinking that a guy was going to fix this again, or that a job was going to fix this, or that money was going to fix this problem, or any of these material things. And remember what I often say in my videos, I have like 800 other videos plus, so you can watch long ones, right? Because this isn't going to be long. Go back to this oneness. And I welcome all religions. You stay connected to heaven, keep your feet on the ground, have a prayer life, develop a life of contemplation and prayer. And I talk about that in my book on mysticism, what that looks like some. And I talk about it, watch The Princess and the Goblin and The Princess and the Cardi, these fairy stories that you think I'm just reading. Anyway, all of these teach you how to have a relationship with God, or how to hack your life teaches you, I think. Or the one, look up Dr. Cheryl Meier and St. Francis of Assisi, and that one really teaches you this, but right? And connection with other people. We stay in, and then, but the only way to do that is to be grounded, this is a Celtic cross, in this oneness from which we came. We came from divine love. And if we don't take hold of this, right? If we don't know, see, even I have this ring, which means go into the center of, when you pray, shut the door to our outer senses, this one, and shut the door and go into the middle of the middle of the middle. Because then we have this courage, we have faith, we have divine love, we have thank the maker, to quote Star Wars, right? We have someone Christ, who will go with us in this pain. Otherwise, when we kept going back in childhood, we just kept getting shut down. And so we learned, don't go back there. It's never going to work to go back to the root of the problem. Oh, look, I was just pulling on this root, right? There's a root, and I didn't know why I was pulling on it. There's roots of these trees. When you go back to the root, and when you practice presence, excuse me, practice being deeply present with yourself, because it's acting out, it's living in the verse, be still and know that I am God. God is love, right? God is love, but we don't know that because we experience something different. And we keep chasing after this illusion because we keep thinking that, now I'm experiencing the shame I felt all over again in childhood. We're giving power to this external thing. If like someone cut me off and I'm just like, see, God sent me that. People can get religious about obsessive compulsive disorders too. So I'm not saying go into it that way, but I'm saying ask God to help you. Go, understand and be in the presence of divine love. And then you start knowing, oh no, that person just chose to cut me off. It has nothing to do with here I'm being rejected all over again. Now understand, we have the obsessive and the compulsion because we're trying to go back to where things broke down in childhood. And we're trying to make it happily ever after. But we're never going to be able to do it from washing our hands, or from being good enough, or from getting another girlfriend, or getting another boyfriend, or from trying to please our spouse, or from trying to clean the house. Believe me, I had a 2-year-old and a newborn, and it's just like the house was just a mess. And I just couldn't get my worth from our house being clean anymore because it was just impossible for me to clean it. I wasn't even sleeping, And so that's a little bit about obsessive compulsive disorder. I wanted to keep this below 10 minutes today. It's just what I was inspired to do. But I hope this served you, and ask me more questions. And if you want to know more, I'll talk more about it, because I want you guys to be free from this. Understand that you have the courage, you're worth the courage to go back to this root and be a good parent to yourself. You've internalized these absent parents. Start being a good parent to yourself, and then you'll feel safe to stop running to those external things. Much love.